Hello, everyone. Welcome to Overtime. We have a number of things to discuss. So let's get into it. We are going to have to go live, I think, reasonably soon with an actual show. These are mostly corrections and breaking news. We went to breaking news with a story that was really rather incredible. That was actually, it was already inaccurately reported by CNN, but even at the most charitable accuracy read on it, Portugal was sending troops to Ukraine. That is false. They are not. They are sending them to Romania. All right, audio issues, is that on our end? If someone could confirm, I want to make sure you guys can hear clearly. All right, so, but because it's Portugal, because it's a NATO member, even though they would not be enacting Article 5, it was relevant, but I want to show you the source for that and why the source on that was inaccurate, because that really has to be covered. It looks like right now there is a significant attack on Kiev underway. We believe, we understand there is in fact a deliberate reason for this. It also looks like they are going to be, Russia is going to be expelled from the SWIFT program. That was something that the U.S. said about 48 hours ago they had no interest in doing. It's going to be a significant hit to the U.S., but it was one of our last tools left, and now the U.S. and EU, I think, is on it. We have a couple other stories we're checking. This is what happened on the Ukraine story. So I'm going to put this up here. This is CNN, and what they say here is Czech Republic, Netherlands, and Portugal will send reinforcements to assist Ukraine. Now, the definition of reinforcements that we are using here, I think it is a acceptable definition of reinforcements. The definition of reinforcements is, the military definition is, quote, extra personnel sent to increase the strength of an army or similar force. Now, we pointed out that when we gave this story, that this story is misleading. Czech Republic, Netherlands will not be sending troops. So we pointed out already when we put this story up, and I'm going to hold on a sec because I'm juggling a few things here. So when we put that story up and when we ran with it, we already said that it was misleading and it was clickbait. And the reason is because Czech Republic and Netherlands will not be sending any troops. Portugal will be sending one company of 175 troops. So we made the correction there, saying that this was a misleading, clickbaity headline on behalf of CNN. However, we were incorrect. It was actually worse than that. So again, Czech Republic, Netherlands, and Portugal will send reinforcements. That is a specific term, and that is inaccurate in regards to Czech Republic and Netherlands. We ran with it with Portugal because they will be sending reinforcements. However, they will not be sending them to the Ukraine. And at this point, and actually I'm going to expand this because I want to make sure that everybody here really can see this and see what we're talking about, because this is actually, in my view, I'm to say I'm upset with CNN right now is a little, and by the way, you can be upset with us a bit because this is one of the things that we check, and we did catch it, but we caught this too late. We already caught part of it, as I said. This article, when we aired a few minutes ago, we already said that this article was not accurate. It was clickbaity. But 3 NATO members have announced that they would send reinforcements to assist Ukraine in the battle against Russia. That is a lie. At this point, I'm going to say that's a lie. You cannot. You cannot accurately claim that. That has not been, no. Everybody knows what the word reinforcements mean. This is a news organization. They know what the word reinforcement means. We are discussing war and sending things to at this point, I'm going to say that this is a lie. And at any rate, the 3 NATO members, and they go on to, and you can tell here, and this is what we already covered, but the Czech Republic committed to sending a shipment of weapons. That's not reinforcements. I gave the definition of reinforcements earlier. I'm unaware of any military personnel that would disagree with my definition of reinforcements. The government has approved shipment of weapons to Ukraine. Netherlands is also sending Ukraine with more firepower, anti-aircraft. None of this is reinforcements. Reinforcements is a very specific term. And we did already point this out. This is so far the part that we got correct. We corrected and said that CNN, when we aired this, we said that CNN was inaccurate. Now, here's the part. When asked for, so I want to start with this real quick here. When asked for a specific number that would be sent to support Ukraine, now, this is in regards, they were asking the Prime Minister of Portugal, Costa. They were asking Prime Minister Costa how many, what they said, what they're claiming here is when asked for a specific number of troops that would be sent to support Ukraine, Costa said the infantry company would compose 157 troops. This is at a minimum inaccurate, if also not a lie. In fact, if you go and look above it, Several other countries at the moment, and this is, I did read this line and we should have caught it. We were going quickly, we missed it. Several other countries at the moment are either anticipating or reinforcing or deciding to send participation with these countries bordering Ukraine. Not to Ukraine, but to countries bordering Ukraine. This is what Costa said in the actual interview, or in the actual press conference. They are sending them to countries bordering Ukraine. They're sending them to Romania. There is an extraordinarily, it is very different. The reason we went live is because sending troops to fight and shoot and kill Russian military in an offensive act, but a NATO country sending troops to reinforce Ukraine is an act of war, which is what we said. This is why we went breaking with it. And we were going on even a corrected version of this article, Czech Republic. The title there is false. The title there is flatly false. There's nothing about that title that is true. Not one word that is true. The closest you can argue is that Portugal is sending reinforcements to Poland. Czech Republic and Netherlands are sending other assistance to Ukraine, not reinforcements. And again, this last line here, I don't know who asked. I haven't seen that anyone actually asked how many troops would be sent to support Ukraine. They are not sending any troops to support Ukraine. None. They're sending troops to support Romania. Last I checked, Romania and Ukraine are not the same country. And since one of them is at war and the other is not, I think that this is a distinction that needs to be made. I apologize. As you can see here, there was already some indication, if I personally had read slightly more carefully, there's indication here. I should have picked up on this. I did not. We did recognize that the story was not entirely accurate, and we ran with as accurate a version of it as we have. It has been since corrected. So I must apologize because a NATO country, as I said, a NATO country essentially going to war with Ukraine, despite the fact that Article 5 would not be invoked. And that's one of the things, Article 5 would not be invoked. All of that is worthy, obviously, of breaking news. We're going to have breaking news anyway at this point, I think coming soon, because there's a lot of fighting. It looks like they're going to be kicked out from SWIFT. If they are, that is what has been called the nuclear option on sanctions. We've already heard that term, nuclear option, with sanctions repeatedly, and I've always been very skeptical because there always appears to be a new nuclear option. The nuclear option is supposed to be kind of the last option, hence nuclear. But this one does appear, this is as serious as to the best of my knowledge you can get, and I'm glad that we're taking it. At any rate, so first is that correction, and that's extraordinary. That has to be corrected. And we made the mistake of assuming that CNN was accurately reporting. And we didn't even assume that, because as you've seen, we checked and found that they were wrong about half of that story anyway. That was a clickbait title, but it turns out the content was also wrong too. So we do apologize for that, and since that was breaking, we have to break to air it. We also do at this point have news on the the SWIFT and what appears to be an attack on a pipeline and a few other things. We're working on that, but we don't have anything we can really go with yet. We'll be going live, I think, as soon as we feel we have enough to sustain a show, or if there's serious breaking, and one of those is going to be happening in the next couple of hours. So thank you for your patience. Again, sorry for that. I wanted to show what our source was for that. It was really, I think we actually did a pretty good job. Give us a B+ with it already for catching the inaccuracies in that article from CNN, but we missed obviously an extraordinarily important distinction, and the article explicitly said, quote, when asked for a specific number that would be sent to support Ukraine. That number is 0. And actually I'll put that up here. Let me put that up because that's important. So this line right here, when asked for a specific number that would be sent to support Ukraine, I haven't seen where that question was asked, and I don't know exactly what I was asked, but the correct answer to that would be 0. The correct answer to that is 0, not 175. The answer to that question is zero. And the Prime Minister is smart enough to realize that. And every Prime Minister and President on the planet has been speaking as carefully as possible, Biden among them. I can't believe that he answered. I haven't seen it yet, and we're up to our ears in other information. I would like to investigate this a bit more, so we'll get into I'm going to get a full transcript of exactly what he was asked, but I have a very hard time believing that somebody would ask him, how many troops are you sending to Ukraine? And he said 175. The real answer is zero. He is sending 0 to Ukraine, 175 to Romania. This is not a trivial error. So we do apologize. We're going to, we caught it, and we're going to continue to catch it. We actually did not catch it. Fabio caught it and sent it to me. So thank you very much, Fabio. I sincerely appreciate that. If I didn't appreciate it, I wouldn't be going live with this. So we do appreciate that. We apologize for the catch. In Time is about doing better than mainstream news. And I think we've just demonstrated that even on a bad day, we do better. But nonetheless, we should have caught that. Thank you very much for your patience. As I said, we'll be going live. I do not want to hide they say hide. I don't want to unlist the previous story, because we're not trying to hide our mistakes, and we're not trying to. But on the flip side, I don't want somebody to see that and think it's real, because it is false. So we're not going to private it. So anybody will still be able to see it, but we are going to unlist it. And we will put a link to it here, so that anybody who's interested in seeing our mistake and reviewing it further will be able to link to it from this correction, and you can see exactly what we did wrong and where we got it wrong. But we will not leave it public, because people can see it, and we can't. YouTube does not allow us to. We could put in the description, hey, this is wrong, but how many people read the description? We cannot put a disclaimer at the beginning of it saying it's wrong. So either we leave it up and people are going to misunderstand it, and again, this is not a trivial distinction. So we are gonna unlist it. That is the best we can do. That means anybody can still find it and see it, but you have to have a link. We will provide that link so that anybody here can see exactly what happened. That link is still on our Discord. It will remain there. That link will remain in this correction so that you can see it, but we're not going to leave it live for other people to find it and think that that's accurate. It is not. So that correction, that'll be done within probably the next 20 minutes, and we are preparing for a live story. Again, my sincerest apologies, and that one was entirely on me, because that was a story. In fact, that was the one I found. That was not on anyone else. That was one of the ones I found and moved forward on. All right, so let me check the live chat. I think there may be something. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the reinforcing Romania. I think the concern is he's actually crazy enough to take Romania. At this point, I really don't want to say anything optimistic, but I have some optimism in as much as this is starting to cost Putin a tremendous amount. And so long as it continues to cost him a tremendous amount, they have a way of getting out of this. It's not militarily, but it's the same way Vietnam was won by the VC. They just have to survive long enough that the pressure becomes the pressure becomes such that Russia can no longer. Hold on a sec. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a good question, Titan. I don't know. It may be as part of NATO. It wouldn't surprise me. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of ambiguity about this. The U.S. sent another 7,000 troops. Well, did we send them as part of NATO, or did we send them as we're just sending troops? My suspicion is it's part of NATO. We don't have clarity on that. I would like clarity on that, but that is 300th down on the list of things I need clarity on. Right now, they're sending troops. The number is so small, and I understand Portugal doesn't have a huge military, but the number is small enough that I'm suspecting they're doing it on their own. But I may be wrong. I also do know, at this point, and this is also thanks to Fabio for this. Fabio informs us, and I think he's right here, is that he's thinking that there's going to be a resolution in Parliament soon in Italy to also offer some assistance. But again, the assistance would be, if that happens, and we're going to look into that. But if that happens, it's going to be along the same as assistance that we've seen earlier, which is sending weapons, sending maybe troops to the borders. That is, quote, assistance. That is not reinforcements, and I cannot stress that enough. This is not time to equivocate on language like this. CNN knows what the language means. This is gross and negligent in my view, but there's nothing we can do about it. We draw from sources all over the place. I'm shocked that so far we've had a better accuracy from randos on Facebook than from CNN. It's not to say, look, we all know, if you've been following In Time for any length of time, we correct the mainstream news repeatedly, and we're able to demonstrate how and why. But that still doesn't mean I'm not necessarily shocked when it gets this bad. What I suspect happened here, just FYI, I suspect they don't always, and often, by the way, the titles, I'm aware, and you need to understand this is how it works. Usually somebody writes the story, but the titles are put on by an editor or somebody else. It's not by the author of the story. So they can't always guarantee, and the titles are deliberately clickbaity for obvious reasons. I don't mind slight clickbait. What I usually say is, as long as the title is defensible. The title has to be defensible, which means accurate to a point where it's defensible. You may say, well, that's not the most reasonable interpretation. Yeah, okay, but is it defensible? And the answer is, if it's defensible, I'm usually okay with it. Saying that these are reinforcements is not defensible. Reinforcements has a very specific term. These are not reinforcements. That is not a defensible title. I think they started to run with that title, and then for whatever reason, they ran one inch too far when saying, when asked for specifics. So, yeah. All right. And then I don't think there's a reason, because I do want to bail on this. I know you guys are busy. I know everyone else is busy. All right. Actually, although, thank you, Titan. I'm going to quickly look at that before we go, just in case it's necessary. I don't know that it will be, but it may add clarity. So let me check. I apologize. Okay, so 3 NATO allies. Okay, well, that's interesting. It looks like that story. Who's the author of this story? So the author of the original CNN story is from CNN's Sharon Braithwaite, Josh Pennington, and Dwight Mendoncia, but it looks like their source may have been from Prague, a news agency there, what appears to be a reasonably reputable news agency, and it looks like they're actually reporting it from that. So the error may not have been at CNN. This OPO in Prague is reporting, quote, Czech Republic, Netherlands to help Ukraine fight Russia. Okay, so far that's close enough to accurate. That's the defensible one. I mean, they're sending weapons, so that's helping the troops to the border. Isn't to help fight. It's to help make sure that they don't go past Ukraine. I will tell you this. If the U.S. sends 100 million troops, which I understand is problematic, to the Romanian border, we haven't done a single thing to help Ukraine. We haven't. It doesn't help Ukraine in the slightest. It helps the rest of the world keep you. So, but I mean, okay, that's barely a defensible title here, but it is. I'm actually going to put this up in the main window. Thank you, Titan. Yep, this is helpful. So here is, let's bring this up. This is what we got here. Can I? Yeah, is that? No. Okay, we need to correct that. And that's fine. So This is actually what we think at this point, and we don't know, and we don't have time to chase this down. I'm sorry, we don't have time to chase this down right now. But the best we can do is this came out of Prague, Czech Republic, Netherlands. So this is, I think, their original source for the story. I think it's unclear. We're doing the best we can, so it is possible that I'm hitting CNN for no reason. CNN doesn't appear to have corrected this in either case, but if you can see this. Now, Portugal promised to send over 175 army men. Once again, send them where? The what you would use is the most recent, the previous, and this is grammar. I teach this shit. The most previous applicable proper noun. You could say they'd be sending it to the Czech Republic, but that's not the most, because that's the subject of the previous sentence. Actually, that's not the subject, but it's so the Czech Republic, Netherlands, Portugal. So Ukraine here would be the most applicable previous proper noun, or noun or proper noun, but in this case, proper noun, and that would be more. So Portugal promised to send over 150 men to help fight Ukraine. That is the proper interpretation of this article, and it is false. Also, 3 NATO allies have announced that they will send reinforcements. That is false. That is not true. So I don't know, actually, and right now it is actually possible that these guys got it from CNN or CNN got it from them. I honestly don't know. I'm actually judging by the clock. It's entirely possible that CNN got it from them. I don't think it matters. At this point, what does matter is we got it wrong. So we got it from CNN. CNN was our source. It's wrong. It's just flat wrong. There's just enough truth to it to make it credible, putting it up. But even the slightest cursory digging into it, it's wrong. So we've issued that correction. We don't know right now. There's some reports that a massive offensive has started, and then some reports that it stopped. I don't know how you start a massive offensive and 15 minutes later stop it later, but everybody knows things are crazy. Join us on the Discord. All right, thank you. Okay, let's check. One more coming in. Like I said, I mean, we're juggling a lot. We want to do our best to correct this, but we also can't run it down. We have limited resources, and yep. All right. Okay. That's I already know more on that one. So we'll any further correction I think we'll put into the show tonight. Like I said, right now it's scheduled for between 9 and 10, but things are changing rapidly, so we'll see. That's our correction. Within about 20 minutes, we will expect to have the YouTube video with the original claim. We will have it. What's it called? It will be unlisted. What unlisted means is anybody who knows it's there can still see it, and we will make people aware that it's there because the link will be below, but it won't be on our page. It won't be something you're going to just find because it's inaccurate. We don't want people to believe it. So, Yep, it's to Romania. So we'll there you go. We've got that corrected. I do sincerely apologize. We will do our remainder show as soon as possible. Thank you all for your time, and we will see you later tonight.